time we're going to try this with some landscaping. This is the Joe Sacco idea here, where we've got the World War I helmet, the whistle, and I've shown here before that Joe Sacco, the Great War, it's the first day of the Battle of the Somme. It's in 24 panels. I have my kids go through each panel and they write down what they see, what stuck out to them, what questions do they have, and so this follows the first 24 hours of the battle. And again, we talked about the Bayeux Tapestry and the impact that it had on Joe Sacco as he wrote this. So this is at the nighttime, and you can see the explosions. My students do this before learning anything about World War I. So we just jump right into 1916. And when they do this, they're then able to not bring in their own biases, their own prior knowledge. They're just able to kind of take a look at the textual evidence and ask their own questions. And so again, they go through this. As they're doing this, students are also sitting at their desks reading and annotating a selection from the Battle of the Somme, and the materials are there. So with this, it's also important to make it more than just this comic. And again, we're going to make poems from this, and so they're going to make their own visuals, so I want them to think visually. It's also important to put out other materials, such as, like, I have a book here that was published in 1917 that I found at an old book barn, which is always great to go and find resources. And so the students can go through there and kind of see the different pictures and what's going on. And they love the fact that I let them go through my own things. This World War I book here is a fantastic resource. Of course, Harlem Hellfighters is amazing as a graphic novel. It's really one you should get. This is probably the first history book that I bought with my own money as a kid. So I put that out. Again, the kids love that I share that. The Eyewitness books, it is more for middle school, but it's great. It comes with posters, clip art CD, lots of great materials. Again, some more great books. So here's a picture book written for little kids. But again, the students can read this and really get a good impact of high interest in Winnie the Pooh in World War I. Charlie's War is another great example of a graphic novel. There's several in the series that you can use. Goddamn This War, which is funny because my daughter said that I can't bring this to school because it has a bad word in it. But another great example of an awesome graphic novel to use. Treaties, Trenches, Mud and Blood, Nathan Hale. Really, if you're a social studies teacher, you should have all of his titles in your classroom. It really is an amazing thing. Also some historical fiction, some young adult literature that kids can borrow and read as well. Spark Notes, the kids are like, oh, you have that out? Yes, of course. It gives you a good idea of what's going on. Some of my college textbooks that I have to show the kids what else is out there. We talk about Ypres, of course, the World Wars, the Bayeux Tapestry, which is a great graphic novel by my friend Tyler Button, who's a teacher. Again, we tie that into this tapestry from Joe Sacco. Dogs of War is another great graphic novel. It has stories about dogs in World War I, World War II, the Vietnam War. That really will get students' attention a lot of times. Jeff Shara, To the Last Man. I've used this as a literature circle book. I have a class set. It is really a phenomenal resource if you want to do a lit circle in a social studies class. It takes World War I through about 6 different viewpoints from both the German and the Allied viewpoints. And so you can assign each student a different role to read, so they don't actually have to read the whole book. And then it can compare about their own experiences that they read about in the war as opposed to the others. Here's just some other examples of books for the students to borrow. Of course, All Quiet on the Western Front, which is the book to read, and I have a lot of students who will borrow that to read it. Here's another from Campfire, a graphic novel that gives you a lot of good information. Enemy Ace is a great book. Even books like this, Arrowsmith, and I say to the kids, yes, there's dragons in there, yes, there's this, yes, there's that. It's historical fiction at its finest, but why not? Flyboys, which I show a couple clips from in my classroom, but what an amazing story for the kids to see. And again, other resources, and then, you know, others that students might not borrow, but some of my favorite books that I'll put out as well. We put out some of posters. Again, this is the one from the Eyewitness books that they come with a poster in each one. Other resources that we have here, and that's the bell. So my kids are coming in. Hope you have a great day.